Champions. I heard people from all around the world, North America, different states, different provinces, different places. So it's an honor to have you here today. Today, we're going to cover a topic that I believe is super near and dear to not just my heart, but it's going to be impactful for your business and life. And it's about the topic of presenting. And I want to submit this to you. I believe that in today's day and age, where there's technology, there's social media, there's artificial intelligence, that it seems like it's easier to communicate and easier to get a message out there. I'd actually submit to you that the one thing that will help you stand out above the rest in your profession, especially network marketing, is mastering the art of being able to present. And the reason is this: with AI out there now, you can come up with scripts, you can come up with posts, you can come up with a lot of different things. You can even write books with AI. But the one thing that cannot be replaced is you and your voice. And when the rest of the world is kind of being conditioned to forget the art of communication because you can lean on technology for that, if you have that ability to communicate effectively, present effectively, you will be a notch beyond the rest and influence will flow to you. So today I want to unpack a series of topics on how to become not just any presenter, but how to become the ultimate presenter. So I hope that you're ready to take down some notes on this. All right. For those who don't know me, my name is James Zhang. It's an honor to be here with you today. If you hang out with me these days, nowadays I'm known to be a presenter. I'm known to be a trainer. I regularly close out corporate calls. The last 2 days, I've closed out two major corporate calls with hundreds and thousands of people. I regularly close down convention stages. I'm talking on coaching Zooms all the time. I'm talking all the time. I'm kind of known for being a presenter. And it's so funny because if you were to tell me that when I first got introduced to this wonderful profession of network marketing, I would have thought that you were talking about some Twilight Zone thing. Because 16 years ago, when I was a 19-year-old broke college student, so shy I could even order food at a restaurant, when I thought about the topic of speaking, immediately it was something I knew I was just not cut out for. So I want to address that first. Are you the type of person that feels like you just are horrible at speaking and communicating? Do you feel like you're somebody that you just got the bad and short end of the stick? Do you ever feel like others are just so much better than you and you leave it all up to them? Well, today I want to share with you the secrets that I've unpacked, and I will promise you this: that the art of being an ultimate presenter is something anyone can learn. If this guy that you're hearing right now could do this, you absolutely can too. And I would actually submit that if you feel like you're one of the slower people like me, you'll become one of the best trainers of it because there's a science and there's an art to it. Okay. This will cover multiple different conversations, multiple different calls. So tune in for the next ones. But what I do want to submit with you today is this: is I do want to talk about at least how to build effective content for any presentation. All right. Well, in later talks, we'll talk about how to convey your message. We'll talk about how to be highly impactful. We'll talk about X factors on what separates the professional versus the amateur. We'll talk about different modalities. How do you communicate on Zoom versus a live versus in person? There's a lot of different topics we can talk about, right? But today, let's start from the bread and butter, which is the content, because I think that's one of the biggest things that gets people scared to speak. Have you ever been afraid to just say the wrong thing? You're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to say? Oh my gosh, like, I don't know how to say, put this all together. Well, let me give you a framework. I'm going to give you today a 5-step framework that I do for any speech, for any topic. This could be you talking about your product. This could be talking about your business. This could be you talking about a training. This could be talking about a random live. But the moment that I implemented this 5 simple framework, it helped me to organize all my thoughts. It helped me to become super impactful. It helped me to make sure that anytime I spoke, that I didn't feel like I was lost. You ready for this? Okay. So there's 5 steps that I do in every single presentation. This is how now I can do things on the fly as well too. Okay, let me just label it out. First, let's start with you need to know your topic. Okay, so let's say your goal is you're going to want to talk about the effectiveness of why network marketing is an incredible business model. Okay, let's just say that's your topic. So we always want to start with what your topic is. You also then want to start to think, well, who am I talking to? Remember, a presentation is simply a conversation between you and not many people, but you and one other person. Okay, we'll dive into this further, but just some framework. You're always talking to just one person. So think about who are you speaking to? So let's say in this scenario, I know my topic and I'm talking to the person that maybe they've been exposed to network marketing, but they're not really sold into it yet. Okay, they're a little bit skeptical. So I know my topic, I know my audience. All right, now let's break down the framework. You want to break down number one, you start with a hook. Okay, then you have 3 points that you're going to make. And then number 5, you have a call to action. Got it? You have a hook. This will draw attention. I'll break these down. You then have 3 main points you're going to drive through. And then you're going to have a call to action at the end. You can do this for a 5-minute talk, a 15-minute talk, a 30-minute talk, an hour-long talk. You can have more points, you can have less points, but I like to start with at least 3 to start to organize things. Okay? So let's break this down further. You know what your topic is, you know who your audience is, you have a framework now. I want you to think, what is one captivating way that you can engage your audience before you even get into your content? Remember, people these days now are so lost in a sea of communication, marketing, and stuff that if you do not get their attention first, then you're not going to be able to convey your message. You could have the best message in the world, but if you don't get someone's attention to pay attention, then it's not going to work. For example, this regularly happens with me and my wife, but I'm trying to communicate. And there's many times that we're just running through our day and I'm going to just randomly say something, but I don't get her attention. Has this happened for you before? You assume the other person is paying attention, but they're not. You say your thing, and then my wife said, wait. Sorry, I was thinking about something else. So you have to make sure that you get their attention first. The best way to get the attention in a presentation is you start with a hook. So what is a hook? A hook is something very short, something in the beginning that captures their attention. What are some easy ways to do a hook? Some examples could be a simple question. Okay, so today, for example, I started with a question towards the intended audience that will preface and be related to the topic. For example, you could say something like, let's use network marketing. Have you ever heard about network marketing before and you were confused or you had that feeling that it might be a pyramid? Another example. Have you ever heard about network marketing, but you weren't exactly sure what it actually was? Let's use another example that might be related to one of their hot buttons. Maybe they're looking to make money, right? What if I could show you a way where you can build a global business that can make millions, but it costs you less than your monthly eating budget? That one was pretty good, right? You start with a question that's captivating, that could hit right on the points of your audience and what they're looking for, and it engages them. So it might be a question. It could also be a statement, a bold statement. All right. For example, let's use this topic of network marketing as a business. Today, I'm going to share with you the number one business vehicle to building wealth and freedom in your life. And it isn't real estate. Oh, you see where this is going now? Start with something that gets people to inch in and draw in. And they're like, ooh, I want to hear what this is all about. Okay. So start to think about hooks. Pro tip: how do you come up with a hook? Go to ChatGPT, start to give ChatGPT your topic, and then ask, give me 5, 10 captivating hooks that I can use to start out my presentation. Is this helpful so far? So key. This is one of the biggest things that if you now study, be aware of anyone that you would consider an effective communicator or presenter, they always get your attention first. And they draw in. They say, what's in it for me? This is interesting now. Okay. So you hook their attention, number one. Then you have 3 major points that you want to make. Okay. It's important that you start with the end in mind. So you have your topic. We're talking about why network marketing is the best business model in the world. If you want to prevent yourself from feeling like you verbally vomit, or have you ever been in a place where you start talking and you don't know how to stop? Or maybe you've been around something like that before. The way that you can counteract that is that you have some major points that you know that you're going to drive through. So I always start with, I like 3. It's a very simple framework to work off of. But have 3 major points that you want to drive through. So for example, let's talk about why network marketing is the best business model ever. I might say low cost, high margin. There's one major point. Number 2, free mentorship. Okay. Number 3, an immersive and fun community. Okay. Pick your 3 major points. You don't need 10. You just need a few. One of the most important things about presenting is knowing our goal as a presenter isn't to throw a bunch of information at somebody. Our goal is to drive home a message that they can take, impact them, and actually transform their life. We're talking becoming the ultimate presenter. It's not giving a bunch of info. We can find information everywhere. It's about making sure that they leave with something that they're transformed by. So have these points down beforehand so you have your main topic headliners. Okay. I'll give you an example. Great communicator. I'm out here right now in Calgary, Canada. We're launching our company in Canada. One of our amazing partners, and he's the master. He created this Breakfast of Champions, Mr. Dana Harper, 7-figure earner, amazing presenter, trainer, coach, and everything. We were sitting down yesterday, and he was talking with and coaching some leaders, and he broke down. This was his 3 points in why network marketing is powerful. Let me give him. It was so good. I got to reiterate it here. Okay. Number 1 is choice. Number 2 is legacy. And number 3 is impact. You see, these are the 3 reasons why I do network marketing. That was so good. Okay. So let's break down this framework again to becoming an ultimate presenter. You have your title, right? You know your topic, you know your audience. You come up with a hook. You then have these 3 main points. Let's go with this one: choice, legacy, and impact. Okay. Within these points, what do you want to do? You want to give a little bit of details behind them to explain it. But you also want to give a relevant story. Here's something you might want to jot down. Changed my life in terms of effectiveness. Never make a point without telling a story. And never tell a story without making a point. Never make a point without telling a story. Never tell a story without making a point. We've all been around both spectrum of these. Think about your boring college professor, the one that just went through facts all day. No stories, no illustration, and everyone's falling asleep, right? You don't want to do that. That's only making points, no story. You've also been around the other person that's telling stories all day, But then you're thinking to the back of your head after a couple minutes, you're like, what's the point? Have you had that happen before? Neither are effective. But when you couple them together, it gets both the psychological and the emotional aspects of us. And we both have both sides of the brain. We have a left side and a right side, right? One's logical, one is emotional. As an ultimate presenter, you want to make sure that you engage both. How do you engage both? You want to make sure that both have it. So, for example, I will have my topic. Choice is the first one. Okay. Then I want to have a detail behind it. What does that mean? So, for example, right, I'm coming up with this presentation. Well, choice means the ability to do what you want, not just because you have the means to do it. It's never about affording something. It's about just saying yes to wanting to do something. So let's say we talk about vacation. All right. So choice, what's the value of it? Well, I'll give a story to this. I might give a story on when I didn't have choice, and I'll give a story on when I did have choice. So, for example, back in the day, my family grew up and they were very humble. They came over with literally $100 in their pocket from China. They worked hard. They did their best to give me and my brother a vacation, but they could only afford what they could afford. So, the things that we could do is road trips. We would do a lot of road trips to Vegas. They would pack their own food. They would bring the rice cooker. And while these were all good, I would see other families and they were flying everywhere. They were going on cruises. They would be having all you can eat buffets. They would be going to the nice restaurants. I'm like, man, what would it be like to have that? And now I'm so grateful. We love travel still. And we have our amazing 8-month-old baby Jaden. He's super well traveled. He's been on to Calgary. He's been to Sydney, Australia. He's been to Punta Cana in just the last 3 months. And it's amazing to be able to say that we can provide experiences, even though I might not remember it, but he has amazing photos. We have experiences because of the power of choice. Did you see how that works? With your main point, give some details behind it to explain that point. But to back it up further, back it up with some type of story or some type of illustration. I always like to go with the personal story, but if it's not personal, use someone else's story. Facts tell, stories sell. Okay? I hope you're liking this so far. 5 points to any effective presentation. You have your hook, you have your 3 main points. Do the same with the other 2. You have your points because this way you always can navigate to the next point if you feel like you're running on too long for whatever reason. And here's the final piece to any effective presentation. This is another one of those key details that most people don't do, but really, if you choose to do, will drive home your presentation to the next level. Every single great presenter ends with a call to action, CTA, a call to action. What's a great presentation? It's not entertaining someone. It's not getting someone to think that you're super smart. It's not downloading a bunch of information to someone. You know what an effective presentation is? An effective presentation is somebody took action based on what you said. You're doing a sales presentation. You can know every single little detail about the product. But if the prospect doesn't buy, you are not effective. So you want to make sure that you leave the audience, whether it's 1 or 10,000, with a call to action, something they can do to drill home the point. So think, and I actually always start when a presentation comes, I always begin with the end in mind. I always think, what would success be in this presentation? What would I want them to do? And how would I want them to do that? So I'll give you a recent example. We're launching some major campaigns for our company. We have some massive summer Black Friday sales going on in North America for our company. And I was asked to be the closing speaker for a leader call and then a whole group call. And on the leader call, I was thinking to myself, all right, we're with a bunch of people that are in the top 1% right now. What do I want them to do at the very end of this? Who are they? What are they going through? You know what I thought about? I'm like, they need a 90-day plan. They need to commit to some different goals. They need to take massive action right now. And they need to make some decisions and declarations. So I was thinking with that already, and the entire presentation builds up to the end call to action. And I went through my hook, I went through my 3 points, and then at the end, I said, I want to challenge everybody today. We're the leaders here. Leaders lead from the front. And this is what we need to do right now. Right? And I gave down a 90-day campaign. People left with direction. People left with enthusiasm. People left with knowing what to do, being equipped to do it. So in any of your presentations, what is the call to action? It could be as simple. Let's say you're doing a live video. Hey, if this was something valuable to you, like this and share this. Hey, if this was valuable to you, tag somebody onto this or share this call with somebody. If it's a presentation, I'm doing a sales presentation later today. My call to action will be something like, hey, if you love what you saw today, whether you partner with us as a customer or a business partner, get back to the person that connected you with this. Right after this, tell them what you want so we can move forward to the next steps. All right. So think about your call to action. Think about what steps that you want them to do. And let me leave you with this. How do you drive home an effective call to action? A good call to action is at least giving a step. A great call to action is one that impacts them at the heart level. One of the best ways to lead with the call to action that's captivating, impactful, and will really help people to take action is have a heart-centered story or reason why somebody needs to do something right now. Lead with emotion and with a story. Visualize and illustrate why them taking action on this will work. So let me do one live right now. We're talking about how to be an ultimate presenter. Here's my call to action to you. My call to action is going to be to commit to becoming an ultimate presenter. Respond to either this call, tell one of your coaches or mentors, tell them I am going to master the art of becoming a presenter. Have accountability. And commit to every week, I'm going to unveil multiple parts. This might be a 3 or 4 part series. Okay. Are you willing to commit that? Here's the story that I'll envelop with that. When I first joined in this business, we had many different reasons on why we wanted to do this. But I remember one of my biggest driving forces was being able, honestly, to get the approval of my parents, specifically my dad. I love my dad, but he's one of those that are really tough to please. Maybe it's the Asian culture, but he's one of those that never said I loved you, never hugged, never kissed. Just not part of the culture, right? Nothing against him. He loved in different ways. But like that word of affirmation was a big thing for me. I remember when I got started in network marketing, it hurt a lot because he frowned upon this. He put me down and he would literally fight me over network marketing. And it wasn't that he wasn't joining or anything that hurt me. It was just the fact that he's my father that I love, that I so crave the want to have approval from. I think we all seek that, a father's approval. And I made it a goal to get really effective in my business. And one of those goals, I knew those skills that would change everything was the art of presentation. So I obsessed over becoming a better presenter and eventually started to present more and getting on stages and everything. Fast forward 8 years later, after I started my business, I'm getting married to love of my life, Becky. And I'm there and sharing speeches and talking and everything. The art of presentation really did boost our business. Half of our wedding party was people in our business. Our president of the company flew out. We could afford this dream wedding now. Parked up front was one of our dream cars. We had been able to purchase a Bentley, and it was super cool. and respect amongst our peers and everything. We're now at the wedding. We're at the ceremony. My dad gets up and gives a toast. Man, a few words, but he gives this amazing presentation. And basically, what he says in this presentation, he gives public affection and affirmation for the first time ever, saying, James, I love you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of who you've become. I was bawling. It's the most I've cried. Snot, one of those ugly cries, like snot flying out, everything, because what I was seeking for so long finally happened. None of that would have happened if I did not master the art of presentation. I want you to imagine when you become a presenter, when you're closing down your convention speech, when you're doing your Zoom call, when you're on live, and the people that mean the most to you, your kids, your loved ones, maybe it's a dad for you, spouse, whoever, yourself, and they say to you or you say to yourself, I'm proud of you because of what you become, because you mastered and you committed yourself to developing the art of becoming an effective communicator and an ultimate presenter. What would that day and feeling be like for you? So worth it. So there's my call to action. Commit to becoming better. Commit to the next couple of weeks. Share this with other people. And I want you to start to envision, what would that be like once you master this? So to close, 5 steps. Call to action, 3 points. A hook, 3 main points, call to action. You saw I did that live. You saw how that impacted you. Turn around and apply that into your own presentations. On that, champions, it's an honor to be here. I hope this was impactful and helpful. Let's be amazing. Catch this and all the replays on bocpodcast.com. On that, I'll toss it back to you. God bless.